Several states have now enacted their own versions of curfews or stay-at-home orders, and it really does feel like the authoritarianism is on the rise. It seems like these orders are 100% unconstitutional. However, we're in an emergency, so good luck winning that argument right now, and that to me is very, very freaky. In Virginia, they've issued a stay-at-home order until mid-June. I kid you not. In Maryland, if you break curfew, you could face up to a year in jail. And we also have news from news from Maryland, but we also have news from North Carolina about their stay-at-home orders. So I want to read through to you what's going on with these states. Look, man, I am no fan of authoritarianism. Absolutely not. In the United States, we have the right to peacefully assemble, and our Constitution is being challenged right now because of a virus. If somebody wants to throw a party, they will come and arrest you. They did it in New Jersey 3 times now. But you have the right to assemble. So how does that fly with the Constitution? I honestly have no idea. They'll say it's an emergency and it was desperate times, but does that matter? The Constitution is very clear. I honestly don't know. Let's read these stories to see what's going on. And seriously, I hope you all have gotten supplies because we're starting to see some scary stories, but let's read. Virginia issues stay-at-home order until mid-June. Virginia joined Maryland in issuing a stay-at-home order on Monday, bringing much of the greater Washington region to a halt. Governor Ralph Northam said the order was in effect until June 10th. That is insane. This is nuts, man. The Democrats said residents should not leave their homes unless it's for essential purposes. The exemptions allow people to leave their homes for medical purposes, food, and banking. People will still be allowed to be outdoors as long as they follow the state's ban on gathering in groups of more than 10 people and remain 6 feet apart from others. Earlier Monday, Maryland Governor Larry Hogan issued a similar order. Violating the order in Maryland is a misdemeanor subject to a year in jail and a $5,000 fine, Hogan said. As of Monday, at least 29 states, including Maryland and Virginia, had stay-at-home orders. The other states are, I'm not going to read you every single state. Well, I'd like to, but there's 29 states that are all basically saying you cannot go out. I'll walk that back a little bit. You can go out, but this is where our rights really get tested. This is a serious conundrum that I don't know the answer to. So I'll ask you guys, in an emergency such as this, right? We are seeing people flaunt this. We are seeing them go to the beaches and party and not care and spread the infection, making it worse for everybody. That's a problem, 100%. We are seeing a government take increasingly authoritarian actions. Now, admittedly, here in the U.S., it's a bit slower. Other countries are just jumping, they're diving in head first. That's scary as well. But we're also seeing the economic damage, which is terrifying. What do we do? We're going to need a leader to make hard decisions. And this is what is so frustrating. We don't know which decision is the right one. If Trump enacted these same provisions in January, they would have screamed in his face for it. And if Trump doesn't do it now, they scream in his face for it. There's literally no answer. And no matter what happens, hindsight will be 20/20, and we'll say they did a bad job. But what can we do? I don't know. How do you feel? Do you think the Constitution supersedes the emergency? Do you think the emergency is more important, or do you think the economy is the most important of all? I want to show you what we have here from the Washington Post. They have the actual order, but I'm going to do something I don't normally do because I think I need to do it in light of what we are seeing. This is a website, safeandreadymeals.com. I will be completely honest. This is a sponsored spot. It helps support my channel. My revenue has gone down considerably for a lot of reasons. One, almost all the videos I do on this get demonetized as per usual. The other issue is that advertising has dropped dramatically. So I decided I will give a shout out to a company that I think would really benefit you right now. And there is a shipping delay, so keep that in mind. Safeandreadymeals.com has a variety of emergency food. I actually have emergency food myself. It's not a whole lot. This one bucket here is like 2 weeks worth of food, and it's sold out. Go figure. A lot of stores are being sold out. So right now it looks like they have the upgraded 4 weeks of food supply, which is available for $197. If it's not for you, ignore this. But look, man, I got a lot of flack from people when I promoted this several times I have. I've done it maybe like 10 times. I'm only doing it because I legitimately believe it's a smart thing to do. If Virginia is saying until June 10th, you've got to consider what that means. Now, you're going to be able to go and buy food, so don't freak out. But we still have hurricanes. We still have storms. I just really, really do sincerely believe it's a smart thing to have some of this. And that's why I personally do myself. I'm not talking about building a bunker and buying 50 years worth of beans. All right? I'm talking about just having some emergency food. I believe it's freeze dried. They say 12 food varieties, up to 25-year shelf life. You buy it once, you forget about it. And then when the worst case scenario happens, you have food. We don't expect it to. But man, the stuff I'm seeing every day has me more and more worried about what's to come. We're hearing that countries are starting to hoard food. We're hearing about potential food riots. I'll get into that in the next segment. I want to talk to you about what's going on here in the United States right now. This is from the Washington Post. It's the Maryland government, Larry Hogan stay-at-home order. One last time, safeandreadymeals.com if you're interested. The link is in the description below. But check this out. General provisions. Each law enforcement officer of the state or a political subdivision shall execute and enforce this order. A person who knowingly and willfully violates this order is guilty of a misdemeanor and on conviction is subject to imprisonment not exceeding 1 year or a fine not exceeding $5,000 or both. So that's a pretty substantial misdemeanor. There are many, typically they go up to a year, but many don't. Like, I can't speak for Maryland, but in Illinois, simple assault or disorderly conduct is between like 1 month, maybe 6 months. A full year is like the max capacity of what a misdemeanor could be. You could literally go to jail for a year for going out and going to a friend's house. The order remains in effect until after termination of the state emergency and the proclamation of the catastrophe health emergency has been rescinded, or until rescinded, superseded, amended, or revised by additional orders. There is no time limit. At least in Virginia, they're saying June 10th. This is saying the order remains in effect indefinitely until they say otherwise. We just saw the media screeching that Viktor Orban in Hungary gave himself, dictatorial powers with no time limit. As far as I can tell, there isn't a time limit on this. The effect of any statute, rule, or regulation of an agency of the state or a political subdivision inconsistent with this order is hereby suspended. The underlined paragraph headings in this order are for convenience of reference. So as far as I can tell, they have not set a deadline when any of this is supposed to end. And that's freaky, man. We're seeing it in North Carolina as well. Now, I don't know how bad it is in North Carolina, but let's just read this stuff. Breaking down the imminent stay-at-home order in North Carolina. They say, the order will take effect Monday, March 30th. So that's today. By the time you've watched this, it is in effect. It asks all North Carolinians to stay at home outside of doing essential activity, what is classified as a essential activity, for health and safety. Any tasks that involve seeking emergency services, medical supplies, doctor or veterinarian, necessary supplies and services, going to the grocery store, automobile supplies, supplies needed for work from home, and products necessary to maintain the operation of a residence. For outdoor activity, you're allowed to exercise outdoors. That's good. But social distance requirements must still be followed. This does not include playgrounds. Those will remain closed to limit spread. For certain types of work, the businesses that are authorized to remain open include healthcare, grocery stores, essential government and infrastructure operations. 5, to care for others. If you need to care for or assist a family member, friend, pet, you are allowed to do so. This includes transporting your loved ones to wedding and funerals, as long as social distancing is complied with. Oh, that's rather interesting, I might say. Weddings and funerals allowed. Wow. Place of worship. If you need like to travel to place of worship, you are allowed to do so. To receive goods or services. So this is by a COVID-19 essential business. A place of residence, going to and from your residence for child custody reasons or visitation, and volunteering. If you volunteer at a charitable organization or social services, it is allowed. We are seeing a major, major violation of the First Amendment. I don't care if it's right or wrong. It is happening. You want to argue whether we should or shouldn't abide by it? That's fine. I'm not saying you should violate any of this stuff. By no means. You should listen to this stuff. Not so much. Look, it's about keeping yourself healthy. We want to get through this very quickly. But at what point are we going to sit back and just be happy or accept the government is saying you can't go to a place of worship and gather? That's freedom of religion. The First Amendment guarantees the freedom to peaceably assemble. We can't do any of that right now. Maybe there's provisions. I'm not a constitutional lawyer or whatever. There may be provisions for the suspension of our rights in the issuance of an emergency, but that to me is still alarming because we've been under so many emergencies since forever. I think we're under 19 or some ridiculous number. The government declares emergencies and then we just stay under them. And mind you, Maryland doesn't seem to have a time limit on theirs. If you don't care about your civil liberties, you better start paying attention and caring now. Because we see it in the media. Viktor Orban in Hungary is going to gain all these powers and never give them up. Yeah, what about here, man? The left right now is clamoring for Donald Trump to enforce federal wartime provisions, and he's resisting, so they're mocking him for it. Dude, they want to smear everyone else as the authoritarian, as the fascist. But look, it's never been more clear who really is. They're cheering for these big tech companies taking down what they deem to be fake news. They're cheering for the invocation of federal authority that would supersede our constitutional rights. And these people are snitching on their neighbors. Not all of them. Enough of them are doing it. And it's freaky, man. Right now, I think it's fair to say we're going to do what we can to make this end very quickly. But June 10th or indefinite lockdowns, there's got to be a time limit. And I don't live in these states, but I would not want to stick around under an indefinite provision. Maybe that's the same case for New Jersey, I think, which is why this is all so worrying. I get it, man. I don't think these people are evil, criminal masterminds, evil organizations. I don't think any of that's, I think these are people thinking they're doing the right thing. But the road to hell is paved with good intentions. So I hope you're paying attention. I got a couple more segments coming up for you in a few minutes. Stick around. I will see you all shortly.